Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Princess if you are new. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my expectations versus my reality before coming to Korea and now living in Korea. It's gonna be 1 year next week since I've been living in Korea. I documented my first video after 1 month, and since then I feel like you guys have been on a journey with me. There's been tears, there's been happy moments. I'm very honest about how I feel making friends here in Korea, how challenging I found it to meet people that I can relate to. Initially I was gonna make this video 10 things I love and hate about Korea, but I was watching other people's videos just to kind of hear what they were saying as well. I thought, do you know what, a lot of the things that these people are talking about, I can't relate. Maybe Busan is different. A lot of foreigners tend to be in Seoul. I've written down a list, so I will be referring to that. I've got 11 things in here. I think the title of this might be 10 things, but a bonus. Number one on my list is the weather. I tend to see a lot of people say the winter season gets extremely cold in Korea. Living in Busan, that is not necessarily the case. Obviously, it depends on where you're from as well. If you're from somewhere like South Africa, where it's extremely hot constantly, then yeah, winter's gonna be very cold. In Busan, it's a very different type of cold. I always describe it as you just kind of stepped into a freezer. I know that sounds extremely cold, but it's like an ice cold. Whereas in London, it's mixed with like rain, wind. It just makes the whole experience completely worse. In Busan, compared to other parts of Korea, it doesn't really get that cold. So I know it was snowing in Seoul. It was also snowing in Jeju Island, which is actually considered to be like the Hawaii of Korea. But in Busan, we only had like a sprinkle for like maybe a few minutes, and that was it. If you're someone who doesn't like the cold, consider coming to Busan. Like, it's a great city. I'm like an advert. Excuse me, the Ministry of Busan or whatever should come and sponsor me to be doing the advert for them, because call me, because I'm always rooting for Busan. On the flip side is that it gets really hot here in Busan. People from Seoul in the summer months, they tend to like visit Busan because we have loads of beautiful beaches here, or Jeju Island. Another common theme that I tend to come across is the Korean surprise. If you don't know what this is, it's basically the idea that Koreans always tell you things last minute. If you work in a school, you might rock up to school one day and find out like a minute before that it's school photos day or something, or even that there's no school on that day because your co-teacher or something just forgot to tell you. I have not had that experience. My co-teachers are very efficient. She does make sure that she gives me a lot of notice before something's going to happen. The Korean surprise, honestly, I haven't met any Koreans that are like that. Number 3 on my list is people say that you can't customize, for example, your order. So no customization. If you go to a restaurant and you want to order, let's say something has cheese in it, but you just want them to remove the cheese, Koreans will tell you no, they can't do it. That is not true in my experience. I am a very selective eater. I often go to restaurants, I go to places and I say, please, can you actually just remove this? I don't want this, da 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 da. Sometimes I can feel like I'm being too fussy, but at the end of the day, I'm paying for something and you should be able to cater to my dietary needs. Usually people are very happy to do that. It's not an issue. If anything, it's just the communication barrier. So for example, me and Ashton had pizza the other day. Ashton doesn't eat meat, he only eats fish. We had to get like a veggie pizza. I don't like mayonnaise, so I said please don't add any mayo, because in Korea they like to add mayonnaise on the pizza. Like, who does that? I don't know if that's a thing, but it's not my thing. Lo and behold, they said sure, but they forgot to remove it. So when we got home, I saw that there was mayonnaise all over the pizza. So that ruined it for me. Usually they're very happy to adjust or customize my order. It's not an issue that I've experienced. Number 4 on my list, I've seen a lot of people say Korea is very inexpensive. It has a low cost of living. I think I've actually said this maybe in a Q&A as well. I take that back. Transport for sure is very affordable. Food, it's not that cheap. Like, honestly, food shopping can eat up a lot of your money. I tend to shop in the markets because I like to support, like, you know, local businesses, but also I do think you get more value for your money. However, there have been times where, like, I have gone to the market and certain things have been more expensive than in the supermarket. I don't mind spending my money that way because I know it's like making a direct impact. Okay, the next thing on my list is this idea that the online delivery is the best thing ever invented in Korea. It's so efficient. Food delivery, you would get your food instantly. Before I came to Korea, this is one thing I always used to hear: next day delivery, same day delivery. I was thinking I was gonna get my things instantly. Yeah, it's for foreigners. Online delivery can be so complicated. There are like so many details that you need to enter. It's too much. If I'm ordering something online, I shop on AliExpress. I do like Yes Style though. I don't know if Yes Style is a Korean, I think it is, but Yes Style is pretty good. Also, I've heard people say if you order food, you can get it like instantly. Less than 10 minutes, it will be at your door. No, that is not the case. I've had to wait 40 minutes to an hour for my food to get delivered before, which, you know, I guess it's normal. I would expect for that to be reasonable. If it was coming in 10 minutes, I'll be a bit suspect. How long has the food been sitting there? I guess the other good thing as well with online delivery, you can order from places like coffee shops. They can deliver to your house as well, which in the UK, they don't do that. You need to go to the coffee shop. Convenience stores, you can order from like look at me. Who says I'm from the UK? We don't say convenience store. We say corner shop. You can order from the corner shop and you get it delivered to your house, which is pretty cool as well. I do think people over exaggerate online, like, oh my gosh, delivery, oh my gosh. Before I came, I heard that there's Wi-Fi everywhere in Korea. In comparison to the UK, definitely you have Wi-Fi at the bus stop sometimes. There's Wi-Fi underground on the subway. The UK doesn't have that. Well, it might have changed now. If it has, let me know in the comment section. But when I was in the UK, which was a year ago, they didn't have that. There's Wi-Fi on the buses, mostly coffee shops and at your doctor's or something. There's a lot of Wi-Fi. However, is that Wi-Fi always working? That's the thing. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's just not connecting, and it's just very frustrating. But the Wi-Fi underground on the subway is actually decent, and on the buses, the buses are a bit hit and miss. However, when you do get a bus with good Wi-Fi signal, you know, it makes the journey a bit nicer. Next thing on my list is the skincare industry. Everyone always raves about how Korea's skincare industry is one of the best in the world. It's just so advanced. When I just arrived in Korea, many of you who were subscribed to my channel from the beginning, you would know that I actually started off documenting my skincare journey in Korea because I have acne prone skin, and I also have like loads of acne scarring. I was thinking, yes, I'm in Korea, like my skin is going to be glowing, I'm just gonna be acne free. No. I think Korean skincare industry is definitely very advanced. However, as a woman of color, as a black woman, as a dark skinned woman, no. Busan and Seoul, I think when it comes to technology, Seoul is a lot more advanced. So perhaps if I had gone to Seoul to try and get skincare treatments, maybe they would have had the right equipment for me. In Busan, I was getting skin laser to get rid of my acne scarring. The next day when I woke up, my skin was burnt. Like, do you know what? Let me just leave it as that. I'm gonna talk about this in another video. I'm also a person who loves to get like beauty treatments. I love facials, and in the UK I was doing this all the time. So now that I'm in Korea, the things I can do in terms of skincare can be quite limiting. This is just solely Busan I'm talking about. I haven't tried any of this in Seoul. It might be a very different case, but I mean, Busan is the second largest city. In terms of products, oh my gosh, Korean skincare products, if anything, that's like the one thing that has saved my skin since I've been here. The dermatologist and the technology for skincare for dark skin is kind of lacking. Next on my list, and one thing that a lot of people always say, is that Koreans have a lack of spatial awareness. This, I'm not gonna lie, is very true. In public, people will just be standing too close to you. They don't know what is a good distance. Or for example, you'd be walking, a Korean person's also walking, and they will be this close to you, I don't know if you guys can see that, until they then decide to move. If you're new in Korea, you're probably thinking like, is this person gonna walk into me? Like, what's going on? Because they won't move until it's like last minute. Also, people just barge you without saying sorry or excuse me. There's none of that in Korea. Honestly, it's actually something I've grown to appreciate, because in the UK, you do tend to overcompensate for like the little things. We always say sorry all the time, even if it's not our fault. It can be just like, oh, okay, can't be bothered to say sorry. And if you don't, then you're rude. In Korea, it's just normal, and I actually kind of appreciate it. I think sometimes foreigners tend to think that maybe Koreans are just doing it to them just because they're a foreigner. Koreans do it to themselves. They barge each other on the subway. I've seen it so many times. So I think when I move back to the UK, I may need to adjust, because yeah, it's definitely something that I've adopted in Korea. I watched one video of this girl, and she was saying that a lot of people are afraid of dogs in Korea. I haven't noticed that at all. I've been very surprised at how people really look after dogs here. You see all these little cute dogs in these extravagant outfits. They getting pushed in a pram. So adorable, but it is a bit over the top. Crazy how much they invest in their puppies and how their puppies look. You know, the whole my boys sorry, you know, the whole like, you know, Koreans are obsessed with appearance and how they look. Yeah, they apply that to their dogs as well. Their dogs need to look just as good. The thing I kind of like heard a lot before I came to Korea was the hierarchy system. If you have a problem, you have to go to this person, and then this person, and then that person. You can't just go straight to like the manager or the principal or whatever. I haven't really had any problems for me to really experience that, but I do think that is true. I've heard a lot of people say Koreans are very direct, like they'll just tell you how it is. In a professional environment, I don't think that's necessarily the case. A lot of people say that they get quite frustrated. Co-teaching, for example, the co-teacher isn't very forward with them about perhaps what they should do or what they need to do to improve a situation. I think they see it as almost quite confrontational, and so they try to avoid it because they don't want to offend you. Whereas I think it's very beneficial to be able to constructively criticize someone, also to be able to receive constructive criticism as well. Number 10 on the list is safety. A lot of people say Korea is very safe. You can walk out at night time and, you know, not have any issues. For example, I hear a lot of South Africans, especially females from South Africa, say that one thing that they really love about Korea is the safety. And also I hear Americans say this as well, you know, the fact that there aren't police everywhere, there aren't any guys who are trying to like catcall you or something like that. In my experience, I think Korea is very safe. However, there are crazy men everywhere, so don't get it twisted. There are good and bad people everywhere. In the UK, I never had any problems with freedom. I felt very comfortable walking out at night time. I think honestly it's very much my personality type. I'm not really, you know, I don't need to be afraid. I don't need to fear, because God is my God is good. Hey. But one thing I've heard is quite common in Korea is the cameras in hotels and Airbnbs without you knowing. There's a name for it, but I can't remember what it's called right now. There's been stories of like people finding hidden cameras in hotels and apartments. For example, if you go to a hotel with your boyfriend or whatever, and you guys, you know, do the deed, there's stories of like that footage being sold to, you know, adult websites or something like that. So that's something to be cautious about. The other thing is, I've heard there's a lot of stories of women who have come forward and said, you know, this guy has done this to me. The criminal justice system may not take it as seriously as some other crimes. The one thing I have experienced here in Korea is like older men trying to like talk to you in that kind of way. Yeah, I've had a few experiences where like older men, like ajoshis, like old men who think they can get with me, and it's very bizarre. it's weird. One experience I did have is of this older man. I was waiting for the elevator and he was just standing there. Every time he would see me, he would just come and stand right next to me and just ask me random questions. And there was a time he came in the lift with me and was just like standing looking at me up and down. I was in the elevator alone with this guy. I was a little bit nervous about what could happen. Yeah, that really made me uncomfortable. Sometimes Korea is sold as this utopian dream, but there is a lot of things that aren't publicly spoken about, and that's one thing that does frustrate me sometimes. Korea is amazing, however there are a lot of issues, underground issues, that people don't speak about, and because Koreans don't speak about them, they tend to just be kind of swept under the carpet. As a result, it just continues to happen underground. So many people's lives are being ruined because they're afraid to come out because of judgment. I have come across some YouTube channels in particular that I love, Asian Boss being one of them. Like, I've been watching Asian Boss for years. They really highlight the good and the bad, which I think is important to give people a holistic perspective of Asia in general. There's also another YouTube channel, I can't remember their name. I will link it down in the comment section. They actually reached out to me when I did my blackface in Korea video, and they asked if I could feature on their channel, and so I would link that video down here as well, because myself and a few other black girls living in Korea, we were able to speak about our opinions on blackface in Korea. And also on their channel they discuss a lot of sensitive issues that are mostly seen as taboo topics in Korea. So that's safety done. The last thing on my list, and I think this is probably like the most common, is racism. One thing I was very nervous about before moving to Korea is that, you know, people will be racist towards me, or discriminatory, or just I would experience a lot of prejudice. Okay, so this again, I feel like I need to put out a disclaimer, because this is my experience. I haven't experienced like direct racism in Korea. There are so many stories online about Korea and racism. It has made people who are very interested in Korean culture not want to come anymore. They don't want to visit because of someone else's negative experience. We are all individuals. You will have your own experience, so come and create that for yourself. If it's something you want to do, don't let someone else's story put you off. Come and create your own story. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect for you. There will probably be some challenges. I've heard situations where you're on the subway, you're on the bus, people don't want to sit next to you. I have not experienced, in fact, people probably sit too close to me. People sit too close to me, and I'm just thinking, okay, I don't mind, like I really don't care. Not to kind of minimize anyone else's experience. This might be specific to Busan, but as a black person living in Busan, nothing. The other thing I've heard a lot of people say is that when it comes to racism, it's mostly the older generation, and how the older generation are very like backward thinking. They're not very progressive, but the younger people are more forward thinking. That in my experience, that's a lie. That is a lie. The older generation, to me, have been more forthcoming than the younger generation. I find that it's easier to speak to the older people because the younger people tend to be a little bit more reserved. I think they feel very nervous about speaking English. They tend to shy away from it, so therefore shy away from you. Whereas the older generation, they don't care if they can't speak English. They will still talk to you. They will still talk to you. I've had loads of times where I'm having conversations with people and I have no clue what they're saying. They have no clue what I'm saying, but somehow we just figure it out. I just find the older generation to be much more interested in like me as a person, like why I'm in Korea, where am I from? They ask you so many questions. Yeah, I do get stares sometimes. It's not like unbearable staring. If I stare back, I would usually be met with, you know, like a smile or like a thumbs up or very good, very good. The older people, I love them. In fact, they are one of my favorite things about Korea, honestly. Or maybe it's just Busan. I don't know about Seoul because I've only been there to visit for a few days. If you are in Korea, I would love to hear about your experience. Is it similar to mine? Is it different to mine? Yeah. That is the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It makes Lady Algorithm very happy. If you'd like to see a 10 things I love and hate about Korea, let me know in the comment section. If you don't, I'll probably do it anyways. Have an amazing day, evening, morning, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.